Recording in progress.
All right, this is the second training video, and this is where we jump in. So they're going to need a sheet of paper and something to write with. All right, and so chances are you're going to have a clipboard and you're going to be drawing this out. So the first thing that they're going to do is you're going to have them actually do this. You're going to put why. So they're going to write why I share the gospel. All right. And then at this point, you're going to have them put their sheet of paper down. They're not going to write anything, but you're only writing at this point. Okay. So you don't want them to write you because they have a blank sheet of paper. So at this point, you're going to write it out. All right. So at the top of your sheet of paper, you're going to write Second Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17 through 21. All right. Let's put a little box around that. All right. And so their pens are down, they're watching you, and then you're going to ask them to read that passage with their buddy. So you're going to pause, and that'll take them all of, I don't know, 30 seconds or so. You're going to come back again, their pens are down, and you're going to write verse 21. We're going to take this passage. There's a lot going on, but we're just going to focus in on a few things. The first thing is at the end of the passage. We're actually going to start at the end. And the first thing we see at the end of that passage in verse 21, we see something really cool happening. Christ gives us his righteousness in exchange. He takes our sin. This is the best deal on the planet. And we call it the great exchange. Okay. And because of that, we have two new identities. All right. The first thing is we see the first identity, the first thing that changes about us is in verse 17. We become a new creation. That is incredible. The old has passed away and the new has come, the new way of thinking, the new way of acting. But not only is that true, we also find out we have one more new identity, according to this passage. And we see that in verse 20. And this is huge because now we're given a job. And so I write a circle, put a plus sign, line above the plus sign, a line below, and then a circle. And we find out in verse 20, we are ambassadors for Christ. And because we're ambassadors, we've been entrusted to communicate or deliver a message of reconciliation. All right. And at this point, you stop and you ask them, and then you'll stop and you're like, okay, let me quickly go read it. First thing we see in verse 21, great exchange. Christ gives us his righteousness. In exchange, we give him our sin. Because of that, we have two new identities. The first one we first in verse 17, we're new creation, old passing away. The next one is in verse 20. We are now ambassadors. We got a job. And because we're ambassadors, we've been entrusted the message of reconciliation. So at this point, you're going to stop and you're going to have them do that with their buddy, go back and forth. Okay. And so when they come back, you're going to wrap this thing up and they're going to go, all right, great. Now, here's how we wrap this up. So you stop at that point, and then this is the next step. So let me finish this up. Now, we cannot be a new creation and not be an ambassador. We can't be an ambassador and not be a new creation. We need both. So the reason we share the gospel, it is our identity. It's who we are. All right, there you go. And then you're done with that sheet of paper. So now we're going to go on to the next video.